Do you work in the data center industry, or do you partner or sell to colocation data centers? Then you'll definitely want to watch this video excerpted from a webinar recording where you'll learn data center marketing tips for getting found earlier in the buyer's journey. If you get value from this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Also hit the bell so you can get notified whenever new videos like this are launched.
The first part we're going to start with is getting found early enough in the right context to matter.
Now, what we hear so often from sales managers, marketing managers, and business development directors, and even CEOs in this space is that every single deal comes down to price. And we hear these words pretty much verbatim. Every single deal comes down to price. The frustration boiling over is I can never get in early enough to explain our real value. And we hear frustration boiling over to the point of this totally sucks. It's no fun when the only thing that you're able to get people to pay attention to at the tail end of the sales cycle, because that's when you first met them, is your price. And that's not a good place to be. And we're going to be talking about today how you can completely change what you're doing and make sure that you are getting in there early enough to explain your true value, to be perceived as an educator, to be perceived as helpful, to be perceived as a thought leader. Where does this all start? It starts with understanding the buyer's journey. And the buyer's journey is very, very different today than it was as little as 5 or 10 years ago. Back in 2005, marketing did lots of things like trade shows, print advertisements and trade journals and magazines, a lot of postal direct mail, and a lot of renting lists and sending email to the people on those lists, even if they didn't want to get your emails. And we know the 4-letter word that describes that kind of email. What also jump-started the buyer's journey, the sales process early on, about 10 years ago, was a lot of cold calling. And then about 10 or 20% into the buyer's journey, 10 or 20% into the sales cycle, prospects were ready to speak with your sales team. Way back then, it was a very different relationship between your prospects and your sales department. Buyers were largely at the mercy of your sales team. Sales controlled access to almost all information. There was tremendous, tremendous asymmetry. It was really, really lopsided. Marketing could be totally unaccountable, and in a lot of cases it was, but it didn't matter that much. It was also a very seller-centric sales cycle. Fast forward to today. Marketing's still doing a fair amount of trade shows, still doing a teeny amount of print ads. That has largely fizzled away. A lot of the trade publications either disappeared or are a skeleton of what they once were. Direct mail still kind of sort of there. The idea of renting mailing lists and spamming the heck out of people is still alive and well. It's amazing it's still alive and well. Google just filed a patent a couple days ago that put another nail in the coffin with that, being able to tie email reputation to your ability to rank in search engines. But you know, it still is to a certain degree in the colo data center space a practice that's being done. However, what's very different about today is your prospects are no longer going to speak with your sales team early on. They're much more empowered. They have a lot more research ability. They can get a lot more information. So when you look at prospects being ready to speak with your sales team when anywhere from 57 to 70%, sometimes as much as 80 or 90% of the buyer's journey is over, it's a completely different ballgame. And what's caused the disruption of this traditional playbook? The rise of search, the rise of social, the explosion in mobile, and cloud. Huge, huge disruption. Those 4 factors alone for changing the entire dynamics of the sales process. So at this stage now, sales needs to get found much earlier in the buyer's journey so it can plant its seed in the ground, plant the flag in the ground. And marketing has a lot more control over sales paychecks than a lot of sales professionals realize, because so much of the education, so much of the resources, so much of that thought leadership is happening in the first 70% of the journey. So the way sales is changing, sales needs to get found much earlier and be perceived as trusted advisors. It's a very buyer-centric sales process. It's completely turned the whole funnel on its head. The sales monopoly on information is long gone. And now most of your prospects expect that your sales professionals can deliver a highly personalized, highly customized conversation, more of a consultation than a static pitch. This is a complete game changer, and it's really, really important to realize that this is not the future. This is the present, and this is the present that's existed for the last 2 or 3 years. Let's fast forward now into what it's going to look like 1 to 3 years out from now. 1 to 3 years out from now, sales and marketing departments as separate siloed departments will disappear. They will be forced into working together as one solid revenue team. We're already seeing this happening. Even in my own network of colo data center sales and marketing professionals, we've seen 2 of these things happen just in the past couple months, where a marketing manager was promoted to director of sales and marketing, and a sales professional was promoted to VP of sales and marketing. So you're seeing that get unified, so there's one person that's totally responsible for revenue and making sure that marketing is working on activities that grow the revenue. So everyone's aligned around the same revenue quotas. Now marketing 1 to 3 years out from now will own 70 to 90% of revenue generation. 70 to 90% of that buyer's journey, of that sales cycle, will be over by the time your prospects are ready to engage. What's adding even more gasoline to that? Podcasting is going to become a lot more mainstream. You're going to see people actually listening to podcasts in cars a lot more easily, as the technology in the big automakers is going to make that more enabled. Video is going to grow even more than it is right now. Live video, Meerkat, and Periscope and things like that are going to continue to grow. Personalization is going to become even more important. And at this stage, 1 to 3 years out from now, the sales professionals that have survived as order takers and the sales professionals that have survived as explainers are going to go away. The ones that are going to remain are going to truly have to be consultants, are going to truly have to be thought leaders, and that is who will dominate the sales profession for colocation data centers. Is your leadership in denial about what's changed? Are they burying their head against the sand? Here's a basic keyword tool showing how many people a month in the US are searching for the phrase data center, 8,100. Now, for a lot of people that are listening to this, your website may not necessarily have the authority with Google to be able to make sense to go after a term that's so broad. Typically, you'd go after something a little bit longer, a little more specific, and have a better chance of being able to work up to that. But there's an enormous amount of demand out there for people searching for these terms. And remember, if you don't get found in those first 10 results, if you don't make it to page 1, either organically or on a paid basis, if you're not able to crush your important search terms, you may not even, it doesn't even pay to show up. So getting found before that 70% point, the moment of truth here, is critical to competing in today's colocation data center market. The way to do so is by investing in creating, at scale, helpful, original, remarkable content. This is what's going to lead to true differentiation. As we get into more of the Q&A section of today's webinar, you're going to see that trend coming up over and over again as a challenge and a frustration among biz dev and sales and marketing and executives in the colo data center space, is the struggle to differentiate. And it's not a matter of you saying that you're differentiated. Your buyer personas, your ideal clients that you're going after, must agree that you're differentiated. It's like going out to shop for a car and the car salesman saying, "Trust me, I'm honest." Come on. You can't. You're not the one who gets to decide whether you're differentiated. It's the marketplace, it's your ideal buyers that you're going after that make that decision. So the question is your company on board or living in 2005?
Hey there, it's Joshua Feinberg from SB Home Run. We're so glad that you stopped by to watch this video today. If you got good value, make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you can get notified when new videos just like this go live. Thanks. We hope you're having a great day, and we wish you great success.